Yeah. Salute.
Cheers, my brother. We are making it happen. So thank you for coming, my brother.
My pleasure, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live with Ab 5. We are in Maiden, Puerto Rico. Shout out to Freeze. Shout out to Jose.
Yes, sir.
Special guest, Sean Martin, is in the building. If you soft, if you need a hug, if you're one of the people that call your mother when you're in trouble, this episode is not for you.
That's not true. Well, that's probably a little true. I still love my moms, but I don't call her when I need love.
No. I'm talking about like if you get fired and you're gonna cry. No. This man is not for that. If you call him, he's gonna tell you, good. That wasn't your job anyway. Go get another job tomorrow, and you're gonna figure it out. You're very motivational. I like that about your clips.
What's crazy is everybody says motivational, right? I like transformational because motivation is fleeting, right? It comes and goes. A motherfucker sees something that he likes, sees a car, sees clothes, sees a girl, he's gonna be motivated to do something about it. But then the reality sets in. It's like, oh, I can't just go to the gym once or for like a week or for like a month. I gotta go all the time for like a prolonged period of time. So the motivation goes. It's more transformation. But it starts with motivation, right? You gotta have a motivation to get moving, and then it's really the why, the purpose, the end vision that you're looking to get to that's gonna keep pulling you toward it, right? As opposed to motivation, which is kind of sexy, but then that shit burns out real fast.
It does.
But it's funny you said that. So, yes, no soft hugs, no pat on the back. It's gonna be okay. Bullshit stories. Yesterday, my barber, actually my second barber in less than a month.
Wow.
One left the shop because he got into a physical altercation with another barber, right? So These are the two Dominican barbers in Suffolk County, Long Island, at a predominantly Russian Jewish barbershop, right?
Wow.
So they already stand out. And I finally found my man from Queens. This nigga's nice, right? So I go, he's not there. I'm like, Chacha, what happened? Got into some beef with the other barber. Fuck. So I start going to the other Dominican who happens to be from the Bronx, River Park Towers.
Hell yeah.
So my man yesterday, I go, like, yo, you in the shop? Yo, I'm never going to be in the shop again. I'm like, oh, here we go. And he starts with the story, right? So he tells me the whole story. And I'm like, yo, he kind of offers, but it's like, yo, I could come to you, whatever. And I'm not going to front. I live in the suburbs. I'm doing all right. I know dude for a little bit, but I don't know if I know you enough to be like, yo, come to the crib.
Exactly.
But then the better part of me, the nigga from the Bronx that grew up in the projects, was like, you know what? You still that dude. Dude is obviously in a tough spot. I need a cut. He needs some money. Yo, come through. He had his shorty come. Give me a cut at the crib. My son was there. He didn't really need it, but I gave him a little lineup, just help him out, give him some extra money, and then threw a 30 on top of it. So I gave him $1 for coming through for like 40 minutes. And the point of the story being, at the end, I told him the same shit. I'm like, yo, my man, whatever happened yesterday, it's done. You weren't meant to be there. That wasn't the environment for you. So whatever's happening next is whatever's supposed to be happening, and it's something better for you on the other side. So long story longer, you're absolutely right. All that sob story, because I seen him. Somebody was on the phone with him while he's cutting my hair. He's telling the same story. Yo, these niggas did this.
And he's going to keep on.
And he's going to keep telling the same story. But how many people you know like that?
Yeah.
They just fucking, something arises, some problems, some beef, some bochiche, and all they do is hang on to that shit for dear life, bro. They're telling the same story.
They're looking for people to be on their side.
In a row, like they're trying to recruit people to feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Again, my man is good people. He hit me with the, yo, I've had customers for 5 years and I got goosebumps. And he's like, I mentioned the same shit to them because they see me today, like to come to the crib, and they were like, nah, I'll just wait for you to land, at another shop. Like, kind of like, I'm not letting you in my house. And he goes, yo, that's some real shit. You know what I mean? And a nigga needed this, so thank you. And that gave me goosebumps because it's easy to forget where you came from. It's much harder to fucking stay the course, do well, but still not change up who you really are at heart. And the only way to do that is again, bringing it full circle, not motivation, but transformation. Who you are today, you weren't 10 years ago.
Hell no.
Before we started recording, you was telling me stick-up kid stories. So we're not going to get on camera about that.
Exactly.
But the point is, you was somebody completely different back then. You've transformed probably a lot of your life.
2 years ago, I was a different person.
Look at that.
I started this 3 years ago. And now, like, you do the same thing, you know, he's a podcast, that's his hobby. This man, let me give him a proper introduction. Husband, father, entrepreneur, speaker, real estate investor. Like, the man is a big deal. He's from the hood. We're going to get into that. Where you from, my brother?
Originally Parkside Projects, original skate key over there by Bronx Zoo.
You got some stories.
Botanical Gardens, 2 Train.
There you go.
You know, we didn't get as much shine as, let's say, Gun Hill or Edenwald projects, but that was shine for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You didn't want to fucking, you know, go to those projects. But ours wasn't a cakewalk or anything. It was just a lot smaller. But, you know, the usual, man. We grew up during the 80s.
Yeah.
So we seen it go from, there were a few, you know, Jews and Italians still in the neighborhood because essentially the projects were for the poor immigrants.
Yep.
And then every generation that turns over. And, you know, there was predominantly black, Hispanic. So I would say mostly African-American, Puerto Rican, sprinkle maybe a few Dominicans, Panamanians, some white people that couldn't make it out. And then crack hits during the late 80s, early 90s.
Here we go.
And, yeah, you start seeing just a whole change in environment. And, you know, kind of dabbled here and there, fuck with the wrong people, but I always had one foot in the house because my mom wasn't having it. So she was a single mom, immigrated here from DR at 11 years old.
Wow.
Did all the right things. Like, she went to school, she graduated on time as if she were a regular age student from here, and she was the first person in my family lineage that came over from DR that actually graduated college. And as far as I know from the Puerto Rican side too, but I wasn't raised with my father, so I can't speak to that too much.
I was just going to say, what about your pops?
Pops wasn't around. You know, the usual story. So the difference between me and a lot of the people that I grew up with is, like I said, there was some working class people that once they had the opportunity, shit started getting a little reckless with crack and the money and the drugs in the street, and they left. And that was the middle class, or the whites, the Jews, the Italians that was still there. If you were Latino and you had the means, you got out too.
Yep.
But the people that couldn't leave were the people that were either single parent households like my mother, who did always work but didn't have enough to get out.
Yeah.
Or you were generational welfare recipients and you knew how to game the system.
Hell yeah.
So
you didn't want to leave.
It's crazy because my mom worked for welfare, right? All her life. So the 2 times that we were on welfare, we actually lived better than when she was working. So imagine you work for the city of New York, you're a social worker, we live in the projects. So if you're making 35, 40 grand a year, your rent goes up.
Yep.
If you're on welfare, your rent's paid for, and then you get your little 2 whatever a month and your food stamps.
No light, no nothing. You don't pay for shit.
You don't pay nothing. Government carries you. But I mean, again, it's survival. You know what I mean? It's not really living. But my point is, Mom Dukes always worked. The 2 times we were on welfare was when she had my little brother and then my little sister. For like a year after she had them, she went on welfare.
So she used it for the right thing.
She knew the system. She knew how it worked. She wanted to raise her kids and spend that first year with them as opposed to the 6 weeks or whatever they give you. And she went on welfare, and we did better for those 2 years, the year after my brother was born and my sister was born, than we did when she was working. But, you know, work ethic is important, man. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing that separated me from my peers and my colleagues and a lot of people I grew up with, was knowing that I had to get up and work for it.
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to game the system. Now, I also knew how to hustle, and I also seen a lot of shit and how to put extra money in my pocket, but it's like going to school was always a must. Going to work was always a must. But then, you know, go to school and you find an outlet to hustle. Go to work, you find an outlet to hustle and make extra. So, you know, I got both educations, man.
It's like, even like that bug is always, that hustle bug is always, like, I used to work at Yankee Stadium, right? And I found a hustle there. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, if I sell 3 pizzas, I did the 4th one, I could do some scam, and then whatever. I was selling beer, right? So, you know, in Yankee Stadium, there was a cup system. So when they come back with the cup, you can't refill it. You
Right.
need a new cup. I'm like, word? All right, I got some. Yo. We going. So we did a whole whatever. It's always
You know how to beat the system.
you got to beat the system.
Right.
And yes, it's stealing. My bad. It's a long time ago. We're talking about the old Yankee Stadium.
He's transformed since then,
Yeah, I'm
all right?
transformed. But now, even when it comes to hustling, right? Now we do legit hustling because
Right.
I got kids. I'm not going to jail for no bullshit.
Right.
So now I use whatever I get paid now. I do it. You know, my little podcast thing that we're doing it'll pick up where it pick up. But the brand is first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The brand first. Then we take it where we want to take it. What do you use your podcast for?
So for me, Real Mentors Podcast is
Real Mentors podcast.
the Real Mentors Podcast.
I like
so
that.
back in 2017, I formed a corporation in name. You know, you could go to formacorporation.com, whatever.
Yeah.
Pay $200-300 and have a corporation name. You just got to check the state. Oh, Business 101 for anybody out there who's looking for a side hustle. You want to start, you got to incorporate. There's different formations, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, whatever. Look into that. Got the food coming in too.
Hell yeah.
So you form a different corporation. You also check with
Gracias.
with New York State.
One second.
Gracias, mami.
Para
Gracias.
servirles.
Perfecto.
For the record, we're keeping it healthy.
Yeah.
Although your shit looks way better than mine.
Wifey, I try to talk into. What's your wife's name?
Jen.
Jen. I try to talk him into the pastelitos. No, he said I gotta keep it real today.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So,
I haven't been here in years, man. I love the food here, too. And I will come back when this diet's
Oh, by
over.
the way, we was talking off camera. Podcasters, there's no excuse. Gracias, mi amor. Bella.
Oh, 100% there's no excuse.
Gracias.
My man, we're shooting on an iPhone right now with a tripod.
Perfecto.
We got our very cost-effective microphones. So for anybody out there looking for an excuse, this is proof that, you know, that's exactly what it is. It's just fucking an excuse to get
It's
started.
an excuse because I record in Yonkers. Shout out to my man Fran Jazz in the Yonkers studio. No, we're not fighting. I just, you know, his schedule and my schedule for the studio is different. So he said 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. I mean 12 o'clock. Goddamn. You know what? I'm gonna make it happen. So look what I did. And by the way, we made in Puerto Rico. I'm in awe right now that I'm in made in Puerto Rico doing this. You know, I've done.
Shout out to my man Jose. It's been a long time, brother. Appreciate
Yeah,
you
we
and
gonna link
Freeze
up.
letting us use the spot too.
Hell yeah.
I gotta run into him when he's here next month.
But
it's been a minute.
the point is, there's no excuses. Make it happen.
100%.
Tripod, $30. Mics, $40. iPhone, you use it every day. So make it happen.
And that speaks to the podcast, right?
Yep.
So when I was locked up years ago, I wrote that the purpose of my life was to give
so
back.
there's the system, right? While you talking, I eat.
Yeah, and
While
then-
I'm talking, you eat.
You gonna finish that? I love talking. You fucking be done by the time I'm finished.
Yeah, do your
So,
thing.
Real Mentors, real stands for real examples altering lives.
Okay.
So because I have a story of redemption and I know there's so many people like yourself and, you know, people that don't necessarily see their stories as one to pass down or inspire people, it's not true. Because if you look back to where you were versus where you are now, even if that's just a family guy who's earning a check legally and providing a better future and example for his next generation of his legacy, that's a win, bro. But people don't view it like that. They view the wins as stuff, material things. And Real Mentors was formed with the intention of teaching our people, predominantly, you know, people of color from the inner city, like our neighborhoods in the Bronx, things that school will never teach anybody, let alone us. They don't want to empower your average citizen, let alone black and brown citizens.
100%.
So financial literacy, giving out your fucking social security number before you even know you got a social security number because your sister or your mom needs a cell phone line or a fucking credit card.
That was a thing.
That's classic fraud. Fucking tax evasion, tax refund. Come on, we all guilty of this shit.
100%.
But my point is, we taught all the wrong information. And the goal of Real Mentors was to teach the information that's really going to serve you in life. You know, school and education is a way out, but you go from one survival mode to, I guess, a survival mode with better paychecks. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you're still empty inside. So we teach about the power of dreaming big, power of belief, the power of writing goals, all the shit school never teach you. And the power of manifestation, because whether or not you believe in religion, you believe in vibrations of the universe and all that good stuff, it all starts with this. And this all starts with this. So what we speak and what comes out of our mouth good, bad, or otherwise, is going to become reality. So like we talked about the barber harping on the problem versus
Negative,
saying,
negative,
yo,
negative.
how am I going to
Yeah.
secure 4 or 5 high-end clientele like this guy that's going to let me come to the crib, charge him a few more dollars, whatever. You focus on what happened yesterday. And again, we're all guilty of that because we just don't know how the brain works. So I think that the most powerful thing that people can master is their mind. But nobody's fucking teaching you how to do that. You know what I mean? They teach you how to get an education, learn a trade, learn a tool, learn a skill that could get you a job and make you a certain amount of money, and then you're trading your time for money. So the program intention was to supplement in schools information they're never going to get from school. And more recently, the podcast just turned into that. So it morphed from let's do a nonprofit to let's just do this good. Put good information out from real people that have come back, made the mistakes, made the adjustments, learned a few things, and let's share those lessons with the next generation through the podcast. So we do a high-level podcast because, no offense to you or what you're doing, I appreciate it and I love it, and we talked about that. The fact that you're getting it done is more important than anything, but because I have resources, it was my intention to give back to nonprofits, communities of color, but instead of clicking a button and making donations, what I do is invest in the podcast, high-level editing, professional studio time, and the reason is I could click, $400, $500, $700, whatever it is, on a charity of my choice to do some good in the hood, or I could give that organization a platform. So my goal is to get not only entrepreneurs on the show that can teach lessons to our people, but people that are already doing good through nonprofits and community organizations to give their organization a platform, cast a wider message, and therefore that $500 or $600 I would have donated becomes, hopefully exponentially more through people that gain interest in the program. So that's my way of giving back. At the same time, I get to build a personal brand. People get to know me.
Yep.
Unfiltered, you know what I mean? You're going to see the growth over time. And what's cool, if I go back to your first episode, I can guarantee it doesn't look as good as your most recent episode.
100%.
So people get to see the real growth. And you've embraced the internet, which is beautiful because people at our age, they're at that point where they either let it go, like our parents, whatever, and then they're on Facebook all day, or they embrace the shit and understand that this is where people are going. People are going toward the internet. AI is taking over. And the one thing that you're still going to have as a human being is your authenticity. So people are actually going to long for that in the future. You can't see it now, but 10, 20, 30 years from now, when people can't decipher from what's real and what's not, human interactions, it's going to become popular again. But right now, how old's your kid?
29 and 13.
Right, so the 13-year-old is much different than the 29-year-old, but the 13-year-old has a third fucking, arm.
Yeah.
It's the phone.
Yeah.
Everything they know is attached to that phone. But human beings we're not designed for that. We're designed for this.
No, I love it. I checked out a couple of your, and it is exactly what you said. Like, it's people that, are you're talking to people and the message is so pure.
Right.
Because you're not assuming. You're not guessing. This is the person that did this. This is the person that is in this banking world or this entrepreneur world. So you're getting it from the horse's mouth,
right?
Like they say.
Real life examples of how people won.
Yeah.
Real examples altering lives. Because each one of those people that created a business left in their wake success stories. They empowered people, whether it was an employee and they gave them an opportunity, or somebody that didn't know about mortgages or lending. In the case of Lewis, who we have, shares a mutual friend and colleague.
Yeah.
He's mentored people along the way, and he's been mentored along the way. And that's the only way to success, bro. There's not a fucking book in the world that's going to teach you more than a real person can teach you. You just got to be smart about those people that you get next to. And that's really the key to success. It's proximity to those people.
Yeah, because, we all got 9 to 5s, right? But you got to build your brand. Like I said, I built this 3 years ago. And driving home, I've said it a million times. When Fat Joe had the Joper show, he was talking to his friends on IG. I said, I want to do that because I got friends that are doing things. That's how it started.
Right.
Now, where it's at, my foot is on the gas so crazy. My foot's been on the gas with episodes and putting out content since February. And people that call me, people that yo, how you doing that so fast? You know why? Because I'm not stopping. You know what I'm saying? I'm not stopping.
Right.
For example, we're going to go back to the excuse. This man told me when he's available. People, when your guest is available, do not go back and forth. He's a family man. He couldn't come outside at 9 p.m. on a Thursday to meet me in Yonkers. It wasn't going to happen. So he said, okay, you know what I'm going to do? And we're here. Yeah. And I did the same thing with Bayo. Shout out to Bayo. I did the same thing with my boy Fausto that has his own clothing brand. We did it in Empire and Dykeman.
Yeah.
I did it with Vic, Inside the Hut.
You come to the guests.
So if obviously the quality is not going to be the same as Yonkers Studio, but the message is going to be the same because we got mics, we got the recording.
No offense to Yonkers Studio, but I think this is cooler. We get to eat, chop it up. Because I mean, again, you go back to human interaction. Mm-hmm. You want to go back to caveman days where was socializing done. Mm-hmm. It was around the food, the fire, the drinking, the getting to know, you know what I mean? And that's really what makes everybody human. And I think there's also a component to me in terms of it took me to the age of, let's say 44 and not drinking anymore to really find who I was and get secure with who I was. Because when we grow up the way we grew up, there's a certain facade that a man is supposed to pretend to be, right? Yeah. Tough and penetrable. You're not soft. Mm-hmm. You're not to be trifled with. And at the end of the day, you could be all those things, but you're also a human being with emotions, with feelings. There's love in your heart. You know what I mean? You got children. You got a wife. There's love in your heart, but we're not taught to show that. And so many of us were raised by single mothers that shit is suppressed or it's kind of warped.
Yep.
So, it took me, like life happens in stages, and it takes the patience and understanding to get to who you're supposed to be, because the truth of it is, in the beginning, when you're young, you're making all the mistakes to get to know who you're not. You're fucking up. You're doing things that your peers are doing, which you kind of know is wrong, or maybe you don't even give a fuck at the time, but you do them anyway because it's the thing to do. Everybody's doing it. It feels good in the moment. And then let's say you get yourself in some trouble and there's consequences to this. All right, if you're smart, you make the adjustment and either become a better criminal or you just realize, well, maybe crime's not for me. Mm-hmm. And people have done both. But you got to take the one thing that people are never going to teach you and just fucking hammer it home, which is patience, bro. Patience. How old are you now?
39.
39? I was just going to say, nigga. You like
Those grades look nice. You ain't 39. Those ain't 39-year-old grades.
When you read in my mind, I'm like, hold up, dude.
49.
All right, so your 10th annual 39th birthday.
Exactly.
I got my 8th one coming up.
Exactly.
So, 47 years old, and a lot of fucking mistakes. But what I realize about life, when you want to keep winning, is that it's going to go like this. It's going to be straight lines. Sometimes you might take a dip, but if you don't give up, you get to a new plateau. You kind of have to get comfortable there and then keep going up. Some people jump up, but then the fall is just as quick.
100%.
So, I've been in a blessed position where I guess the problems don't get any less. Just my ability to deal with them gets better. So there's very little that would take me out of my game right now. But that all comes through confidence, and that comes through making all the mistakes.
And being positive.
But I think the positive, some people
what
are
I mean
negative,
by
right.
I don't mean think positive. I mean doing positive things. Because I really believe that if you are, I don't know, let's say you're the custodian in a school, or you have back to a hustle.
Right.
You have a good job, 9 to 5, everything's great, pension, whatever. Now you're gonna do a little, dab on the side, and you're gonna be selling weed or coke in the building or whatever.
Right.
Karma's gonna catch up to you. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is the negativity cannot be around you. You cannot. There's no shortcuts. There's no negativity, because if it's nickel and diamond, we're not even talking about jail.
Right.
I'm just talking about the karma of.
Right.
The karma of.
It's bad energy.
It's bad energy.
Yeah.
That's my point. Bad energy. Can we talk about the case that you called and everything? Is that public knowledge? All right. What was that? That was a while ago.
Yeah, it was like almost 17 years ago. But a whole other lifetime ago.
Yeah. But what were you doing before that point? Were you this guy as far as like the brains?
I mean, I always had the brains. I always had gift the gab.
Yeah.
At the time, I was marketing for radiology facilities in the
Okay.
Bronx. So you get an MRI, you talk to the doctors, you go market and connect doctor's office with the radiology facility. You need a CAT scan, an MRI,
Yeah.
X-rays. You go to your doctor, they send you somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was in that industry. Prior to that, I was doing sales in Yellow Pages back in the day, if anybody's old enough to remember that shit,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Before Google and everything else took over. So remember, I'm college educated. So I had a job, but I always wanted more. So I always used to hustle, some kind of hustling. I won't get into all the particulars, but, not just a connector. That's my unique ability, right? Is people.
You always had that.
I always had the ability to connect people, to relate to people from the lowest to the low, to very well off, from the dummies to the very educated. I don't know. That's my gift. It's taken me a long time to realize that, but I've always had that. And listen, the truth is, 60 grand a year or whatever wasn't enough for me. So I remember going down to 28th Street one time and taking $900 this dude owed me. And I parked out in front of the Old Navy on, what is that, Castle Hill? No, not Castle Hill.
White Plains.
California, White Plains Road.
Yeah.
Off the Bruckner.
Yeah. It's by my house.
Right by Old Navy. I pull up in my Hyundai Sonata with my little brother. We cop $900 of fake Uptowns and True Religion jeans and fucking Ed Hardy's.
Yeah.
And all that shit that was popping at the time. Took the 900, turned it into like $5 grand in one weekend because it was a few days before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I found my new side hustle. And it's technically legal, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not hurting nobody.
You ain't heard nobody.
Even the cops were bitches like, yo, get this shit in the trunk, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to pull you over, nobody's going to lock you up. So that's what I was doing at the time. I was working, hustling, also connecting. If you knew somebody who needed something, I was your guy. But my clientele was more working class. Like dudes that wanted something, but they worked. So it wasn't like street grimy. But then doing the delivery service for other shit, doing the clothing deliveries at the strip clubs at 3 in the morning, to Juicy Couture suits, to strippers and all that. Now I'm playing in a world that it's a little seedier.
Yeah.
And I'm hanging with the wrong people. And one night, I'm out of the club and basically become the mark for a fucking robbery. Because again, I don't fit in. Dressed a little too nice to be, and I'm telling you, I'm not gonna name the spot. This spot was the crummiest of the crummy, after hours, just scummy. And by the grace of God, things didn't work out for them. We got the upper hand and took the law into our own hands. Violence ensued. We become the aggressors. We don't call the cops. Hindsight is 20/20. Excuse me. And yeah, I mean, that's the story for the most part. I don't want to get into too many particulars. There's other people involved with it and whatever, what have you.
Fine.
But just being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people because I was playing the wrong game. So I had one foot in the street and one foot in the professional world. You can't do both, and I got caught up. But the godsend there is the best thing that ever happened for me. Year before going in, because I'm fighting the case, I'm making bail. My co-D's not on bail because they got a longer rap sheet. And at the end of the day, they want to cop out like, yo, sit here on the island, bro. We got to get this shit done. And I'm getting high. I'm getting fucked up. I'm not trying to think about none of this because I'm technically free, but this is all hanging over my head.
100%.
So when time comes, we end up taking a deal, 2 years, 2 and 2. So I do my 2 years, I end up doing 20 months. But a year before going in, I meet the now love of my life. We've been together 17 years. Celebrated our first anniversary 2 days after turning myself in. So go figure that shit. Like, happy anniversary, man. Yeah, I'm here on the island. I got some fucking phone time.
Wow.
Trash. But anyway, God has a plan. I ended up using that time to really, really just take stock. Remember, you find out who you're not before you find out who you are. I'm not a criminal. I'm in prison. I know how to move. I'm not the first guy.
You with real criminals now.
Yeah, I'm with real criminals, right? So I mean,
You
first
was
go to
playing the
island,
criminal.
then you go upstate, and
Yeah.
now you're just playing with criminal life. But how many people do shit that they don't get caught?
Me, 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Knock on wood,
My
like, I
point
never-
is, this needed to happen to me because God needed to show me what it was like down here so that I don't lose sight of it. So the same way we started with this nigga just lost his job, yo, come through, I got you. My gut is honestly telling me because the criminal mindset is like, yo, I don't know this dude. He's desperate. I'm bringing him to my crib. He got my address now. Nah, you're not going to think like that. This is a good dude. He came up against some hard shit. You've been there, done that. Don't forget where you came from. So again, I think I was put there to really remember that our people, because when you go up north, that shit don't look like the makeup of the streets. That shit is skewed heavily black and brown, bro. I want to say like 85-90% of the inmates are fucking Latinos and blacks. And the streets don't look like that. Maybe in certain parts of New York City, but for the most part, you got to be doing some real criminal shit to get locked up if you're a white boy, or you got to have a manslaughter, DWI, severity. Again, just the justice system doesn't favor us. So it was a good education in reality. For the first time in my life, I was sober for those 2 years. And also I picked up Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within, was the book. And that was like my first dive into self-development. And I started taking the black and white composition notebooks from like back in elementary school and just writing down all the shit I was learning. And then I was like, all right, well, what do I want to do upon 6 months of coming home, 1 year coming home, 2 years coming home, 3 years, 5 years, 12 years. I got that shit detailed.
Oh, wow.
And when I tell you that it's from here to here and also in the pen, what you write will come into fucking existence. Obviously, you got to work for it. But, yo, I tell you, all those things came true. And in there, I realized that life was about giving to others. I wasn't able to do that until 15 years later when I started doing what I'm doing now, because I always say money's not going to make you happy, but when you come from poverty, yo, go get that fucking money. Get that chip off your shoulder, because nothing removes the chip from one's shoulder like the feeling of success. But when you get that money and you got the sneakers, you got the whip, you got the house if you're doing that good, you got the girl that you thought you were supposed to get, whatever it is, you realize that none of that shit is what's going to make you feel fulfilled. But when you give to somebody, when you help somebody who's down in their luck and give them $100 and the bill was 70, again, that feeling, you gotta get the chip off your shoulder. So again, to all people who are struggling, who haven't made it, go get that fucking money. I'm never gonna tell you to not get that money. But once you get it, you're gonna realize what everybody else preaches.
Legit money.
Yeah, legit money. And you know what? Let's be real, man. I was doing shit that got me to a place that I wanted to be, I thought, and it wasn't legit money. So again, that person gotta make that mistake. I think mistakes and failure is the only thing that's gonna build you up. Now, let's not get into a place where that mistake costs you years of your life or anything like that. But again, you gotta bend the rules here and there.
Or more than 2 years.
Yeah, you gotta bend the rules once in a while. You bend the rules, man. And then prison was great for me because I was already somebody with some level of foundation. Now, there's brothers and sisters in there that they don't got none of that. They never had love in their life. They didn't have any responsible role models. I've been in crack houses where dinner was a bag of chips for some snotty-nosed little kid, and I'm just like, wow. I'm not really realizing the gravity of the situation because I'm young, I'm running a gun and whatever, but looking back on that shit now, that was somebody's childhood. That was their existence. And we probably knew people like that at times. Maybe you were like that or your cousins or something.
100%.
Again, so that shit just showed me, it showed me a reality of life that most people that are in my position where I'm at now and where I'm striving to go will never have. Like, I'm in rooms now that I'm the brokest, dumbest guy there, I like to joke and say, and they appreciate me for who I am, unfiltered, unapologetic, crazy motherfucker from the Bronx. To them I come off a certain way, but I also know how to navigate that. But again, it just speaks to, I've found my calling, I found my voice, and there's nothing, no one, or nothing that can just take me off the path right now. And it sounds like, to some extent, for the show, that's you right now. You found something that you enjoy doing. You're giving platforms to other people.
Yep.
You're entertaining as well, but I got a feeling that it does something for you as well.
100%.
And that's what it's all about, doing something that's in integrity with who you are that can help somebody else. And by helping that somebody else, you're essentially helping yourself. So, I mean, listen, all the cliches are not rocket science. Shit is real.
No,
Right?
I know. For me, and after this, we're gonna take a break. I want my man to finish his meal, so we're gonna take a break.
Go for it,
We're
bro.
gonna take a break, and I gotta go to the bathroom. We're gonna take a bathroom, and he gotta
That's
eat.
really what it was.
But no, but it's the what this does for me, bro. When people watch the episode back, mind you, you know how we are. We 4 episodes ahead already.
Right.
So when we dropped the one we dropped, we forgot about
Right,
it.
we already
No
forgot.
offense, but you know,
Busy.
we're not in that place no more. And the people that we interview, or the person that I interview, and they hit me back and say, yo, my wife loved it. My wife said you're great. My kids loved it. You know, I loved it. It made me cry because it took me back to. That's what gives me the satisfaction. And, you know, because, bro, people don't go back. They don't want to talk about that 10-year-old boy that was in the crack house, for example.
Right.
They don't want to talk about the you know, the 2 years that you did or whatever. They don't. You are different because, you know, you don't give a shit. I remember on one post you said you kept it a secret for a while. Then you dropped the bomb on the internet. Like, you know what? I'm gonna make it do what it do.
That was for me. That was for me because for so long, I live in the fucking suburbs, bro. Like 95% Blanquito. And it's like, I'm at the gym and I'm still personable. Everybody loves Sean. What's everybody gonna think of me? They know I'm fucking.
Disculpe, ¿le puedo ofrecer otra cosa también así?
Salsa water.
Ok, sorry.
You good?
What's everybody gonna think of me? I have a fucking criminal record.
Yeah.
And it took me going to into this mastermind group called The Edge. Shout out to Raul Velasquez, Ecuadorian cat out of Connecticut that started this men's leadership group, and he hosts this boot camp. And a small group, 7 dudes, and just doing some inner work. You doing some physical shit too, but it's more about doing the deep work. What's really holding you back? And that shit was holding me back because if you can't be real, then you got an invisible blockade on you stepping into whoever you're supposed to be. And that's such a big part of my story. So for me to leave that out, and I had people along the way as I started this journey, was like, bro, you got to tell that story. That's where the juice is at. Like, who the fuck cares about you if you're not telling that story? And that may not be the case, but it makes you real. It makes the fact that you fucked up so bad that your freedom was taken away, but yet you found redemption. And to segue real quick, prison taught me the emotional intelligence that I didn't have. So we get angry. We don't realize why we're angry. We're angry because we have resentment toward whatever person or situation, and that came from disappointment. And it's like the cheesy cliche of the onion. Like, you don't just get to anger, but where we come from, like, and we talk about prisons, like all motherfuckers respect this violence, right? To some extent.
0 to 60 real quick.
0 to 60 real quick, because nobody has that emotional intelligence to understand why these things are happening. And then after the emotional intelligence comes the emotional fitness, which is your ability to handle all the incoming drama, bullshit, bochinche situations and be like, all right, yeah, okay, those are all happening, but like, we're alive, we're gonna figure this shit out. So going to Raul's boot camp allowed me to unlock something in me that allowed me to then come home. I made the commitment there. I'm like, when I come home, I'm shooting a video in the backyard myself, and my editor cut it up, and we're gonna release the story, and fuck it. Made the chips for me where they may. All the Blanquitos in the gym were like, love me even more now. And I think part of it is they knew me before that. Some of them may be judgmental. There may be people in the neighborhood that follow me that I don't know follow me, like the Karens and shit like that in the neighborhood that I don't, you know, my daughter's friends, moms, dads, I don't give a fuck.
Gotcha.
And they might secretly think, feel whatever they feel or think, I don't give a fuck. Again, but that's because I have that confidence. But I didn't have that confidence always. What gave me the confidence was just putting it out there. Just fucking say it.
I think the only thing that we don't fuck with, well, there's 2 things, and we spoke about this when we met, because and I'm gonna say it here. He interviewed Jimmy, and I'm like, yo, I don't know. And by the way, they were killing him in the comments.
Not everybody, but yeah, we'll get to that.
So when he we're gonna digress real quick. So when he interviewed Jimmy, they were in the comments, and I had to defend them. I'm yo, he keeps interrupting. I'm like, whoa. He's not interrupting. They're having a conversation back and forth. So it
Right.
seemed that way. But I brought up Jimmy because I could have had that interview
Right.
maybe a year ago. And maybe I lost a good moment, I don't know. But I was told, and the rumor is that, he's no good for whatever reason. And he told or he gave a camera to the cops. And you say what you said when you met me.
Well, first of all, I thank you for defending me. He was like, I was defending you, and the cop was like, yo, that was you? Because my first inclination, it was such a popular video. Shout out to Jimmy, Jimmy's Bronx Cafe, Jimmy Rodriguez. Good dude.
Yeah.
In terms of ratting and all that shit, like, what's the man supposed to do? He's supposed to lose his legitimate business or his credibility with the local precinct to not hand over the tapes. He's going to obstruct justice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the criminal-minded people that are shouting for that probably aren't even really criminals. They just keyboard crusaders. They got something to say,
100%.
but they not doing a motherfucking thing.
Yep.
The same people that were telling me that I'm interrupting Jimmy too much, God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. I even was like, yo, thanks for the feedback. We always strive to do better. We appreciate it. Because as an interviewer, yes, there's Barbara Walters and there's fucking Oprah and Gail and all these high-level interviewers that, it's a question and answer session.
Yeah.
And those things are heavily edited. Me and Jimmy are just two Latinos.
This will not be edited
from the Bronx, sitting down, having a conversation. And that's it. Like, I don't need to apologize for the way an interview went down. But yeah, to your point, motherfuckers always got something to say. But why would I take into consideration something from somebody that's not doing anything? Like, What are you doing that I should take your advice on how to interview? How many people have you interviewed? Not you, but the guy making the comment.
Yeah.
Probably zero, but he's got something to say. And you know what I appreciate it? That people were so into the interview, like you even said it, that they wanted more because nobody really got the backstory from Jimmy. And if you notice, like when I sit down with my guests, I don't want to know the story that's already out there. I just did a cool segment with Cos Marte, Dominican cat from Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Which the president came home, started fitness business, now has 3 dispensaries, Conbud, 2 in South Bronx, 1 in LES, killing it. And I was like, yo, I seen your story. I don't want to tell that story again. I talk about your personal life. We talk about, what it was like growing up. How does that apply to your kids now? Like, I want to know the individual. And a lot of times that's what's made me successful in the rooms when it comes to big money as well, is people don't always want to talk about what you think they want to talk about. So like Jimmy, for instance, was telling the backstory of Jimmy's. A lot of people are not going to go for that story. They're going to go for the Cuban link slashing story.
Yeah.
Again, I was there. I can't speak to it.
I didn't know he started under the bridge, fucking selling lobsters.
Nobody knew that. You know what I'm saying? Except for him and pretty people in his immediate circle. As for the whole rat shit and all that, give me a fucking break. But,
Yeah.
I mean, again, different code, different...
No, but that was definitely a dope
lifestyle.
definitely
Yeah,
a dope
appreciate
interview,
it,
my
man.
brother. I checked it out.
That's why I'm here right now, because I didn't know who you were when we met in the parking lot. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
we started chopping it up. I was like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. And then you invited me on. I'm like,
Yeah.
sure, I'll come show love
No.
because I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I want to support that. Same way that if I see what somebody's doing, I want to support them. And you can only do that when the chip is off your shoulder. Again, so many people from poverty, so many people from where we come from, so many Latinos, Morenos, they're walking around with a fucking boulder on their shoulder, bro, because they haven't accomplished anything. So what happens when you don't accomplish anything? You start to have disappointments, which lead to resentments, which lead to anger. And that's why there's so much anger, there's so much trauma, there's so much unhealthiness in our community, is because of that. And we wearing that shit. We literally wear it on our face. We wear it on our comments. We wear it on the fucking shit that we view on the internet. Mm-hmm. And you can blame trauma, you can blame poverty, you can blame all that. I get it. But what becomes easier for a lot of people then is to start blaming the system, to start blaming things beyond their control as to why they are where they are. But the truth is, you got to move forward regardless.
You remain stagnant. If
Right.
there are so many people from the hood that are not in the hood no more. They moved up to Middletown, New York. They
Right.
moved up to, Suffolk County. They moved up, even Yonkers, whatever. And bro, that white man hold me down shit that don't apply no more.
Right.
That I'm from the projects don't apply no more.
Right.
That single mom shit don't
See,
apply
you
no
and
more.
I, but I'm sure that there's still now this itching fucking me up.
Yeah, no, there's no excuse.
Right.
You have to progress. You have to seek education. You have to stay positive. You have to, if you get burnt like you did, get out of it. You know, I got burned a couple of times. The last time I had handcuffs on my wrist was 2009. I didn't get indicted, but I was going to court for 6 months.
Right.
And that shit sucks, as you know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That shit is like it waiting over your head. And that was the last. I said, you know what? I didn't get locked up. I just had an open case.
Right.
That open case was good enough for me to say, I'm not a gangster. I'm gonna go to work and I met my wife and whatever. So that was a positive thing. But the reason why I brought up the neighbor thing is that in the hood we don't tolerate rats and we don't tolerate pedophiles.
Right.
So the fact that when your friends found out that you were locked up with some gangster shit, it was probably cool.
I mean, yes and no, because I was supposed to be the one that was supposed to be successful.
But it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, my people show me love.
No, it is what it is, bro.
And funnily enough, you find out who your real friends are when you're away.
And
the motherfuckers I knew the longest-
shout out to Wifey. Held it down for 2 years.
We'll get into wifey.
So, 2 years held it down? Gangster.
Yeah, my wife is, she's my gravity, bro. My wife is truly, truly my gravity. And here's the power of perspective, right? So gravity is what holds you to the earth. And I say she's my gravity because I got a big fucking ambitious mindset and she keeps me from floating away from myself, right?
Gotcha.
But there's been times in my life, hear this, there's been times in my life when I'm not moving forward, I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing to fulfill me, whether in business or in fitness or whatever, and I start to consider her my gravity as if she's holding me back. So, it goes back to the blame versus the taking responsibility. So when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, she keeps me grounded in a good way. When I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, the same individual here starts to blame her for holding me back. And the reason that I say that is not because it's true. It's just a perspective.
100%.
And if I can be real about that, how many brothers can admittedly, if they're being honest, hear that right there and be like, damn. Yeah, when I'm not feeling wifey, it's probably because if I'm taking a good look at myself, I'm smoking too much weed, I'm not in the gym, I'm not doing something I want to be doing, nothing's lighting me up. So I would blame her, honest. She's holding me back.
Yeah.
Look, she ain't all that anyway.
Yeah.
She's getting fat. Whatever, man. And that's like to drive home the point of how our mind is the trickiest fucking thing to overcome.
1,000%.
And again, I think it's easier for me to come out and try to transform a person through a conversation than me to go out and try to transform the fucking system. So that's why I went from Real Mentors being a nonprofit, and then I saw the red tape and the bullshit involved with nonprofits. I was like, fuck that. I'm going to just do it in a podcast format where I can control the message. I am the message, and there's none of that politics or bullshit involved. I invite on or go on wherever I want to go, and nobody can tell me nothing. If I'm doing a nonprofit, I'm shackled to some extent to follow the rules and regulations. So again, I'm still the same person. I don't like rules and regulations, but obviously within reason.
Yeah.
So again, we evolve into a better form of ourselves if we're doing the work. Then you can look back, and I always say the only time you should be looking in the rearview mirror is to see how far you've come. Because, those fucking baby steps, when you look back 2, 3, 5, 10 years, you're like, oh shit, I made it a long way.
Yep.
But it's like J. Cole said, love yours. He's like, came a long way. Some of y'all went the wrong way. And you could go the wrong way and look back and not realize, damn, I went in the wrong direction. You might be in a prison cell, you might be in a grave, you might be way overweight or diabetes, whatever. Or you could be this way. And, maybe life isn't where you want it to be, but you got the kid, you got the wife, you got a home, whether it's rented or a house, you got a decent car, you got a decent job. Again, maybe not the sexiest shit, but that's when you're comparing it to somebody else who's doing better, as opposed to comparing it to where you were 2, 5, 10 years ago. And I think that's the hack for us as a people, is to start to learn how to master our mind and the perspective. Because truth be told, if you're African American in this country, you're less than 3 generations removed from like the last hanging in the Deep South. So again, we haven't had as much time, let alone as much opportunity. But yeah, nobody's coming to fucking save us. And it's on us to save us. But like you said, people move out and it's easier to not look back because the problems are plentiful, bro. And a lot of the problems are of our own making, if we're being straight.
Yep.
Went down to the South Bronx to go to the dance organization event, I think middle of February. Parked on 149th in the concourse, and I'm walking, and there's shit in the middle of the sidewalk. And I'm just like,
welcome back.
Welcome back. This is how we living. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it crossed my mind at that point. I'm like, damn, am I going to make a dent in what I'm trying to do? And the truth is, yes, I am. The motherfucker that lets his dog shit in the middle of the street and doesn't pick it up is not my target. And to some extent, you know, maybe they'll figure it out one day, maybe they won't, but I can't be deterred by the reality of the culture and the situation of poverty. I just got to focus on those that got a shot, where if I plant some seeds, maybe they'll come to bear some fruit in a year or 2 years or 5 years. You know what I mean? Because there's people in your life that you came across that planted a seed or said something or showed you something that changed the way you live your life. You know,
100%.
for you, the last time was being in handcuffs. And then you met your girl before or after that?
I met my girl while I was going to court. And I think she was putting, well, that's my ex now, but still, that's my son's mom, the 13-year-old's mom.
Okay.
We are excellent co-parents.
That's what's up.
We don't fuck around with that. You know, I got a girl. You know, she probably moved on. You know, man, we don't ask questions. We don't want to hear none of that shit. But you know, when she presents someone to me, like I presented my girl to her already.
Right.
You know, whatever she's doing, that's not nobody's business. And us men, not to digress again, but
we're a little more sensitive with that stuff.
As you can see, as you can see, you know,
body language changed.
Because, yeah.
I don't care if she moved on.
I don't care if she moved on. But
okay, kick the table.
We have to worry about the kid, and co-parenting is so important because, I don't want nobody around my kid. Bro, fuck all that bullshit. Am I taking care of my son? Are you taking care of my son? And as long as he's safe and he's protected, it's a beautiful thing. Right. But on that note, I really want him to finish his meal, and I gotta go to the bathroom. And we're not even gonna stop rolling. I'll just clip it from there, and we figure it out.
Clip it.
Yeah. But what we did. Whenever you're ready. How was that?
That was great. I just said it on camera. I was like, yo, Don Jose Salad is official. Good, man. So, yeah, man, just fucking...
We back.
We back from bathroom break / finish eating. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like my boy Brad said. He's like, trust as if everything is in God's hands, but work as if everything is in yours. So it's like this duality of faith and belief and trusting the process, but still getting up and grinding every day and putting in incremental baby steps toward a goal or a vision. And, again, I've just been super blessed. Super blessed. And
just for the people. So from the time that happened to you, like you said, we don't got to go back to your release and how you build what you got now, but
yeah.
Exactly what do you do now as far as making a living?
So I own a medical supply company. So we do durable medical equipment here in the New York City area. And I started that way back in 2017. So we're 8 years in doing that. That's my rocket ship. But by trade, I'm a marketing person. So remember, I used to do the door-to-door, MRIs, used to hustle clothes, connect people. So I'm a people person. I'm a marketer.
You live in Bro, God gave you that gift, and you are using that shit.
I'll sew all that shit together right now. So I do the medical supplies, and that really enables me to change my life because that's been a big business for me.
That's the entrepreneur part.
That's the entrepreneur.
We'll get into real estate after.
Yeah, I connect doctors with other doctors that refer to each other and attorneys, and they refer me work for my medical equipment, and we've done fucking super well. I've also, have partners that have done super well as a result of that. So August 2022, I decided to get sober, stop drinking, and
Well, why was that? Because I saw you in an episode. you
yeah, I
mentioned-
was drinking too much, straight up. I mean, we moved to the suburbs. I buy this house, I spend all this money. My backyard is like a resort.
You got a pool, by the way.
Yeah, an in-ground pool. I heard that Dave Chappelle said,
In-ground
he's like, well, above ground. Is it really a pool? Fuck that. I would have killed for an above ground pool growing up.
Hell
My
yeah.
cousins had one. We thought they were rich.
We had one. It was called the pump.
Yeah.
It was called
we had those too.
It was called the fire
Nah,
hydrant.
we in the projects, we had the original swimming pool that
Oh,
she used
yeah,
to
yeah.
fill up. That
Yeah.
they had like the sprinklers, but then they would clog it and the shit would flood. We used to swim in that. God
Hell yeah.
forbid. I don't know what was in there. But
Shout out to Cortona and Mapes, by the way.
yo, Kobe had nothing on that water. So, medical supply business. Rewind a couple years ago, get sober. Decide to kick the drinking thing, which I've known for years, man. I went back in my notes. Excuse me for a second. Yeah, we just did that. So,
Raw.
some habits die hard. So, go back 20 years into my notes because I've always been a goal writer. I was like, what would my life look like without drugs and alcohol? And for so long, and I think this hits home with maybe you and definitely a lot of our people, is we self-medicate. We're getting high to deal with pain and trauma and bullshit. And there's an unhappiness to the life that we're leading. So whether, it's a 9 to 5 that it's just a means to an end, but you don't want to be there, that chips away at your soul. And that's why you wait for the weekend to get fucked up. I used to be in here all the time. Thursday happy hour, Friday happy hours, Saturday night. Because I was just waiting for the weekend to get fucked up and dance and forget about doing all the other shit that I don't want to be doing. And I think so many people, no matter where they come from, are suffering from that disease. And have just completely succumbed to the idea of them starting their own business or doing something on the side or even doing a podcast that hasn't made the money yet but lights them up. Right? So I just think there's a component there that people aren't entertaining when they go for the safe bet. And luckily for me, the marketing and the ability to connect leads to the medical equipment. Then I find myself going to the Tony Robbins seminar because that was also a goal of mine.
And you met him too.
Yeah. I see him every few months, actually, and get to interact with him one-on-one. And it's crazy to bring that full circle because 16 years ago in a prison cell, I'm going to go to Tony Robbins seminar and walk on the hot coals because he talks about it in that book. And he also teaches state exercise, right? So when you're in a powerful state, it sounds so cheesy, but again, your body, when you're in a good mood, right? You're flowing, you're sitting upright. You mention your ex and introducing somebody else, your whole body language changes.
Yeah.
And we said it jokingly, but it fucking literally changed. So they have this exercise of a state exercise. And in the book, they teach you how to get into that powerful state in an instant. The cheesiest thing you could do, actually, like, it's so goofy, so make sure nobody's around. But if you want to just stand like a superhero in front of your fucking mirror, it'll make you feel better.
Naked or clothed?
I mean, depends how you look naked. That's on you. But if you look great naked, then yeah, go for it. If you don't, then that might make you feel bad no matter what the fucking pose is. So,
No Diddy.
again, man, oh my God, let's not even go on that fucking animal. But anyway, go to Tony Robbins seminar. I end up meeting my now real estate partner on a layover going to Chicago. So, sign up for this mastermind. Shit is 6 figures, bro. Most expensive education I've ever done. But, college is $75,000 a year now for private school if you're fortunate enough to go to a private school. But this shit is over $100,000 a year, and they have these events every 6 to 8 weeks, and you go, and it's 5-6 day events, 12 hours a day, but they're teaching you, again, education of you, how to master your mind, how to master your thoughts, how to master your values, how those things are at odds. So I go to one seminar, then I go to the second one, I get laid over in Chicago, I meet this guy. Next thing you know, I'm at the Trump Tower in downtown Chicago in his condo, and we're hanging out, and he's like, yeah, you can sleep over the crib. I'm like, yeah, that was very generous, very white of you. Thanks, I appreciate it, but I'll get a hotel tonight. In my head, I'm thinking, But nah, this dude was the real deal. We ended up crashing. My other boy, Dominican cat, John Lahara, ends up coming over from another flight because he got delayed because of the weather. We were going to ski retreat in Idaho, Sun Valley, Idaho. I didn't even know that existed.
Yep.
And the weather out there sucked. So everybody was getting delayed from different parts of the country. John Lahara, Dominican cat, flies in. Now we're both staying at this white guy's house we just met today, overlooking the fucking Chicago River and Lake Michigan.
Amazing.
From the 40th floor, 39th floor, some shit like that. And like, wow, lucky break, right? Me and this guy Andrew end up chilling for the whole week at this convention because the food sucks. Again, just getting to know him. White boy from a trailer park in the Midwest, came through a lot of bullshit to get where he's at.
Are you drinking?
Me?
Was this drinking time?
No, we didn't drink. At this point, we weren't drinking.
Oh.
Oh, he was already sober for like a year.
So
I
you
just
respected
got
it.
sober in August, and now we were in February.
Look at that.
So yeah, I was sober already.
That's a
And it's
beautiful
funny
thing.
because if we would have met before that, we would have had a good time one night in a bar and then just never spoke to each other again.
Yes.
Or maybe not even. We'd be like, this guy's a douchebag.
But the fact,
whatever.
no, I just want to get into the. I want to be a fly in that room.
Right.
So now these are smart men, no influence,
Somewhat
having
accomplished in their own avenues. Him
And-
in real
and
estate.
sober.
Right, him in commercial real estate. And the story's longer than that, but we get to know each other for this week. And then we kind of lose contact. We got each other's information. And then the Dominican cat, John Lahara, texted both of us. He's like, hey, I want to get on a call and talk about that triple net lease real estate that you mentioned. So John is a broker in New Jersey, originally from the Heights of the Bronx, I forget. And he wanted to know about triple net lease. So this building that we're in right now, if it's an independent, I think it's a standalone, somebody owns it. I don't know if it's Jose or whoever. But if we were in a strip mall, let's say with the nail salon and the barber shop and the laundromat and the supermarket, somebody owns that. Now there's different kinds of leases. Now triple net lease in commercial real estate is the most hands-off. Everything falls on the tenant. So if you rent an apartment, your toilet breaks, that's on the landlord to fix it. So they gotta have a guy or repair team, or if it's fucking the Albanian guy that owns the three, he's gonna come do it himself.
Yeah.
So in the case of triple net lease, or in the case of any retail space, it's on the tenant. So your toilet breaks, it's on you to call the plumber.
Like private house shit.
Right. Now, triple net lease takes that an even step further. The roof collapses, or not collapses, but the roof suffers a little damage. The snow needs to be removed. The taxes go up. All that is rolled into their lease. So as the expenses of the property go up, it's divided amongst the tenants equally, but the landlord, no, is hands off. So it's a slower, non-sexy, what they call Class A asset. Now some can be Class B, Class C, depending on the quality of the build or how new it is. But triple net specifically is the most hands-off. My money's making me money. I'm not doing a damn thing. Real estate. So most people don't start there. People work their way up to that.
Yeah.
So you've been doing real estate for years. Maybe you own some dilapidated shit, and then you got to a point in your career somewhere down the line where you got to invest in these properties. But because I'm in that Tony Robbins room, because me and him built the rapport, and then John says, "Yo, let's do this fucking phone call," and now I'm hearing this shit again, and I had the best year of my life business-wise, and I'm like, this is it. In that black and white notebook, I wrote, I'm going to be a commercial real estate investor, and I'm going to have assets totaling, I'm not going to share the number, but that number has been meet and beat. That was written in the prison cell 17 years ago, and the shit came to life on a fucking layover in Chicago going to a Tony Robbins seminar, which was also in the fucking book, because I had never taken a real estate course, nor did I need to. I needed to lean into what I was good at, which was this. So I already know who this person is. And furthermore, when he flew out to New York, before we had done any business together, I wanted my wife to meet him. So bringing back to the wife, right? I needed her to sign off on the fact that we were about to give this stranger some significant fucking cash.
Yeah.
And after dinner or whatever, she's like, he's good. And that's all we needed. So my gut said me he was good. Her gut told her he was good, and she's a fucking skeptic. So if she tells me he's good, and I'm telling him he's good, then all right. But I might see things I want to see in people that aren't there. I'm a little better at that now. But that's the balance of having a true ride or die, that you trust and respect their opinion, And we only got to that place, again, through a mistake because I had lost $500,000 on the deal, not following her advice. She was like, I don't think this is a good idea. And I was like, nah, you know what you're talking about. Ended up losing $500,000 on that because I didn't listen to my wife. So the next time a big opportunity presented itself, even bigger, I was like, yo, I got to run it by the wife. But that ability to learn from your mistakes, which we all make at whatever level, it doesn't have to be a $500,000 problem. It can be a $50 problem. My point is you got to learn from your mistakes and put yourself around the right people. Here I am around a guy with 15, 20 years of combined real estate experience who's winning in the space. I get to fucking get in the elevator on the 40th floor going up to the 60th floor. You know what I mean? I'm already starting at a level where most people end because of belief, some good fortune, but also putting myself in the right place. So getting me locked up was wrong place, wrong time, wrong people. Putting me in real estate was right time, right place, right person. And that's the importance of who the fuck you surrounding yourself with. And that's that place that I'm at in my life right now, transitioning. That same person, my partner just texted me this morning, and he just told me about some fucking potential 7-figure wins we got going on. Like 7-figure wins, bro. And I don't say that shit to brag. I just say it I still appreciate all the shit that I've seen. So I'll never take that for granted. But I'm around people with money, long money, jets, roses, all that shit. And their lives are empty, bro. Straight empty. And I know that God put me on the path of all these mistakes and, fuck ups, and to be thankful, grateful, and appreciate the entire journey. So even today, shooting, the goal is to get this done, run a couple errands on the way back to Suffolk, and then spend late afternoon with my kids because it's going to be 80-some degrees in our in-ground pool. So, again, I know what matters to me, and I don't have to go chasing nothing anymore. The shit comes to me because I put myself next to it. Now, everybody doesn't have that opportunity yet, but I think people have the misconception that they're supposed to have that opportunity. But the truth is, if you were, like I said, me and that guy met a year or two, before that, then nothing would have happened.
Yeah, I would have been
like,
saucy.
Yeah, if you're not doing nothing, what makes you think you deserve to be in a space where you're making progress? You out here making moves, and all of a sudden, whoa, the right people just keep falling into place. For whatever reason, you weren't supposed to interview Jimmy back then. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I was supposed to. I'm just saying, for whatever reason, you were not supposed to.
I chose not to, yeah.
That's it. May that change? Yeah. It may give it more context later if you get to sit down and have that conversation. I don't know, but my point is, once the ship done sailed, there's no fucking point in just staying on them fucking ship. Just get off, get on the next thing smoking.
And you know what's crazy? When you say surround yourself with the right people, bro, and I really want to give a message to people that are shooting podcasts. Even if you're the cameraman, even if you are on camera like me, the star of the show, whatever you want to call it, don't look at it as, a fucking bullshit podcast that I do sometimes.
Right.
I am sitting, think about this right now. I am sitting, by the way, I've asked Jose for an interview. He said he got me. I'm working on it. Maybe this will help. I don't know. But the point is, I'm sitting in Maiden, Puerto Rico, in my hood with Sean Martin. And a lot of you are saying, who the fuck is Sean Martin? Google it, motherfuckers. Like, how else would I be sitting here with Sean Martin?
Right.
I'm not in real estate. I didn't lose $500,000, like, whatever. But all of that is just numbers. It doesn't matter. This podcast, which I appreciate and I love, and there's nothing better than something like this. I sat down. The way I met him was, Louis Somar hit me up, and he was coming out. I was going in. So Louis is doing his own thing as well. But these interviews are putting me in rooms with people like you, people that are doing things that I can't even imagine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, I will cherish this meeting, for the rest of my life. It's
Appreciate
on record,
you,
but even if it's not on record, I will cherish this because you are, like you said, not to brag,
Right.
You are up here,
Right.
but there's people higher than you. So
I ain't
you can't
shit.
floss sometimes.
I ain't shit. Nigga.
Sometimes you can floss. You can floss over here. You can't floss over there.
All you learn when you level up is that there's a fucking bunch more levels above you. That's the truth, man. But how many of us were taught to some extent that money's the root of all evil?
We all, yeah, that's everything.
So how the fuck you gonna go out there and make as much money as you're gonna need to be comfortable, whatever that is defined as by the individual, if you believe in your heart that money's the root of evil? See, that's the value system being at odds. And there's so much shit that we gotta uncover as people that, again, if we spend 2 years working on ourselves, or if that was ingrained into some curriculum, whether it through the parents at home or through a school system that actually gave a fuck about you as a person, you'd be able to exponentially improve your life, bro. Like I'm playing with house money right now. So I'm not afraid to lose it. I'm not afraid to share it. Because the reality is I'm already like, I got everything I need while I go for what I want. So I got friends that are chasing private jets. And, you know, I got like 5, 6, maybe even a couple more people than that with private jets on my phone. And my man Dan Martell says, how many people you got on your phone with gate codes and PJs? So as you're making the climb to that ultimate level, wherever you end up, but we're talking, you know, 7, 8, 9 figures, how many people you got on your phone with gate codes and PJs? So gate codes, I was like, all right, gate codes, you know, you got a big house, you need a gate code.
Yeah.
I was like, what's a PJ? He said private jets. And I was like, the light bulb went off. Because you got to have some long money to be, you know, flying around on a private jet, let alone your own private jet that you own.
The fuel was $60,000, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, a cheap private jet's $2 million. Like a used, old, nothing, like you get on and you be like, oh, I'm on a private jet. This is nice. Like, and I never been on a private jet to this day. It's funny because my boys, I'm like, yeah, that shit don't really, like, it don't move me. Like, and they're like, you ever been on a private jet? They're like, nah, I haven't. But they're like, that's why. And I'm like, it might be, but I'm so confident in the fact that I have everything that I need, bro, that shit don't move me. But that's also the same thing that lets me know that I'm going to get everything that I wish for. Because I have the patience and the understanding to know that it'll come if it's meant to come. And if it doesn't, there's no resentment because I'm playing with house money. I've already won the game. The only reason I keep playing is because if I don't play the game, I'll be a fucking miserable bastard. And I'll take it out on the people I love the most, which is my family. And that's what the drinking was. It was a result of me being a miserable bastard because I wasn't doing what I was put here on this earth to do. And I knew it. And how many people know that, but they're not able to vocalize that? So that's all my mission is. I'm not trying to make money. I'm not coaching for money. I'm not doing any of that. All the podcasts to the tune of, you know, probably spending 6 figures a year at this point, producing those high-level videos and all that. At least 6 figures a year. That shit is to put good energy into the world. And can I tell you that that personal brand, even though it doesn't pay in terms of the ROI, immediate return on deals, when I walk in a room, people know who I am. They know what I'm about. They know what I stand for. And that is like a filter. So being in rooms, well, the fact that you're sitting here, and I appreciate the kind words, you know, you're sitting here with me or you're sitting here with Lewis, or anybody for that matter, the reason that you're able to do that is because you're doing something positive, you're doing something that feels right, and you know it. And it doesn't have to be some big money shit, but it has to be something that is adding value to somebody else's life. And just by default, that shit is gonna keep you moving forward.
You know what's crazy? Bro, I got celebrity numbers. Rappers, I got big DJ phone numbers. And I'm like, babe, he gave me his phone number. And she's like, babe, you're doing something positive.
Yeah.
You're not a fan.
Right.
You're not a fanboy.
Yeah.
And you're not trying to sell him fucking weed.
Right.
You are telling him, yo, my name is Ab. You know, my name is Ab. I got a podcast. I would like to talk about your growth and what you got going on. Who the fuck don't want to do that?
Right.
This is why they'll be like, oh, you know, they'll be like, oh, give me a phone. And most of the time it's in a loud ass place.
Right.
If it's a DJ, if it's a rapper, if it's, you know, whatever, yo, hit me up. Cause I, like, back to your point that you just said, I'm doing something positive.
Right.
I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm
Right.
not trying to. I'm not a fanboy. I'm not.
Right,
I don't
right.
want an autograph.
And
It's-
you're not
it's
looking
positive.
for nothing salacious. You're not.
Nah.
You're not there talking about gossip. You know, there's a lot of people that make money on this space with gossip.
And I still haven't done that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And don't, because it's
I don't need it.
what you're doing is going to be slow,
Yeah.
but it's got to be steady. Talk to me in a year. Talk to me in 2 years, and I guarantee you're going to have interviews in your ecosystem
Yeah.
that is going to be like, oh, shit, I got to interview that dude. I got to interview that dude. So, like, it's all coming for you, bro. You just got to keep showing up. Literally pop the book bag with the tripod and the cheap mics. I was like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And I respect that because I got a dude, Jason Abreu, who's on the show, Made Up North. Shout out to Jason. Same shit. Yo, my man, you want a podcast? You got a tripod? You got a fucking phone? You got cheap mics. That's all you need. And what he did, he went and got started. Same shit, Gorilla Podcast. Book bag, let's go.
I saw him. He was on. Shout out to you, brother. He was on.
He was on Lewis' show the other day, too.
He was
He
on.
was on Dog in the Yard.
Dog in the Yard. That's it. He was on Dog in the
Yeah,
Yard.
and he's doing his own thing now. Because, again, getting over that fucking hump is the hardest thing to do, bro.
Let's record.
It's the hardest thing, but that's in anything.
And Gary Vee says it.
Yo,
Gary Vee be like he has I think a radio show, and someone called in. Oh, I want to do it, and
Yeah.
he's like, press the fucking record button
he's the best.
and talk
yo.
about your day.
Gary V's the fucking
Press
best.
record and talk about how fucked up your day was.
Yeah. And somebody
how
out
great
there-
it was.
I
One or
think,
the other.
Yo, who did I tell? I was you. I told you,
Yeah.
yo, look up Joe Rogan's first episode.
Yeah.
And the shit was the phone, and the phone was on the desk.
With
And you could
fucking
see
bubbles-
part of the
with
table.
bubbles.
You could see part of the table, and like this, like a fucking.
Oh,
yo,
this is amazing compared to Joe Rogan's first episode.
Yo, my nigga, this is high end right
This
here.
is high end.
So, I mean, there's nothing left to do but to do it. The first step is the hardest step. I'm going to just leave it at that. For years and years, I was working for a dude doing marketing. He run the same kind of company that I have now, the medical supply. And I had the business plan on paper. I was like, I can't deal with this dude no more. He's just wild. You know what I mean? We was getting paid on time. I was like, yo, I need to do this for myself. I'm the one bringing in the work. But yo, the reason he was winning is because he took a chance years before that. So he had equipment. He had the money to pay guys like me. And then one day he got to a point where he, owed me enough money where I just said, fuck it. I walked away. Now most people, you screwed me out of that money. Nah. I took whatever I had. I fucking went and bought equipment. And I started my medical supply business. The first step took me years. But once the first step was taken, now shit just starts to compound into days and weeks and months. And the same shit's gonna happen. You start slow, but then the momentum picks up. You keep showing up. You just said you had an interview a couple days ago. Now you got this one here. You go into the interviews now. Keep doing that, and the shit you'll win. Whatever the end game is, there is no end game.
I don't even
right?
know what the end game is.
It doesn't matter. It's the journey, bro.
It's the
At
journey.
the end of the day, it's the journey. Because I don't know, we didn't really talk about, if you have an entrepreneurial background or anything, but for entrepreneurs and people that build shit on their own, there is no end. You hear about dudes that, make it, or yo, if I get that lawsuit, I'm good, I'm retiring. It's like, nigga, you get 120 grand. You know, we even retire for 120 grand.
Yeah.
First thing they do, they go blow 120 grand in 6 months because they never had that kind of money. And now you're back to square one. You need to have a plan. So now that you started the momentum, give yourself the permission, pull out a piece of paper, your phone, the notes app on your phone, and just start to dream, bro. And if you're gonna write down, I wanna make a certain amount of money, or I wanna have this many podcasts shot in a year, but then you kind of talk yourself out of it and put a more realistic number, check yourself and write the original number that you were dreaming, because that's where it's supposed to be. So again, the shit ain't rocket science, but it's about having courage. So the courage first is internal, to give yourself the courage to even speak the shit into existence to yourself. And then you might have the audacity to share it with somebody you love that you know is not going to shoot you down. But how many people shoot it or tell people they know don't deserve to hear what they want to do because they kind of subconsciously want them to shoot it down so they don't have to go for it. So the same thing is just get started. Give yourself permission to dream and dream big. Don't limit yourself, but your mind will play tricks on you. Like, you don't want to make $1 million a year.
Oh no, I'll be talking shit sometimes. I had an episode. Someone asked me, what's the end goal? I said I want to sign with Spotify for $10 million. Like I threw
Why-
that.
why-
I threw that shit into the.
Why-
I
why-
threw that shit out there for real.
All right. And guess what? There's a chance of that happening now. If you didn't say that, there's absolutely no chance of it happening.
Yep.
And that's my point. There's nothing too ridiculous. You deserve it. The truth is you're just not anywhere close to it right now because you haven't become that person. But when you start the journey, you become that person. And then you realize that you meet other people in the podcast space that's killing it. And you're like, Dika, niggas ain't that good. I could do this. And then you start to realize, yo, I'm built for this shit too. And then you get the external courage.
I didn't even know I was built for this shit, bro. I told you, I started watching Fat Joe. My first episode was my daughter, nervous as shit.
That's funny.
Swear to God, me and my daughter talking shit. And now I'm at the point that the compliments come all the time.
How many
know,
episodes are you? 50 something, I think, right?
56.
Shit, I better step it up, man. You beating me. I don't know where we at. We probably in the 30s or
Yeah,
something.
50 something. So now, back in like the 20s, right? I had people saying, yo, you a natural. Gracias, mi amor.
Yeah, mommy, go ahead. Thank you.
Gracias. I had people telling me, yo, you're a natural, right? I didn't know what the fuck that shit meant. We from the hood. We do this on the corner.
Yeah.
We do this.
Shoot shit, barbershop,
shoot
right.
Barbershop, but as I started to take it more serious, right? I said, okay, mom dudes don't play. Yo, you're cursing too much. Oh, you know what? Okay, no problem. We throw an F-bomb here and there, but I was just bugging out. Like,
It's
wait a minute.
funny, I drop M-bombs when I come to the Bronx, so I'm with Lewis or with you. But in my show, I don't be dropping them. So every time I say it,
It's
I'm like,
okay.
yeah, but that's how I talk.
At 100%.
Now, some of the people that may be watching this that don't know that side of me, they're like, oh my God, did he just...
100%.
It's like, you don't understand how we grew up.
Yeah,
It's different.
We don't need stream on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
again,
I say that to say that I know now, and my girl and a few other people, I didn't want to accept the compliment that I'm good at this.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Forget about the hustle. Forget about the drive. That is something else.
Right.
You have to be good. I don't give a fuck. Do you still keep going to get better? Of course. But if you suck, you suck.
Right.
It is what it is. I sucked in the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was cursing. So and shout out to moms because she didn't let me. She did
She
not
didn't let you slide on that one.
Hell no. Yo, moms was always like, you look nervous, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Your biggest critic.
Yeah, now we just we eating, we drinking the fucking mirrors and shit. We don't give a fuck. We just chilling.
Right, just get it done.
Because we just get it done. And my brother, you drop so many gems that usually I tell people, drop a gem at the end, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. End it off, man, with just some positive words, to people that want to do a podcast, people that want to start their own business,
Yeah.
whatever, man.
For anybody out there that wants to do anything, whether it be a podcast, start your own business, the first thing you got to do is give yourself permission.
You
Like,
said that,
truly-
and I know what the fuck you're
truly
talking about.
give yourself permission. Well, it's the part of you that says you're not good enough. So what boils down to every human being on the planet, for the most part, let's just say every human being, is the feeling that I'm not enough. You just expressed what your holdup was to start the podcast and how hard it was for you to take a compliment because you didn't feel good enough.
I did it.
Not a person on this planet feels like they're enough. That's why the guys with the 2 jets and they're empty, because they're buying these things to fill the need that they're not enough. So the jet is supposed to show people, the Rolls is supposed to show people, I'm enough. Look what I got. For some people, it's the gym. For girls in our community, unfortunately, it's the BBLs. I'm not enough, so I'm going to get this thing that's going to make me feel better. And, to some extent, it probably does. But then your feeling of enoughness comes from the attention that other people have given you. So the truth is, you're not going to excel or be fulfilled in life if you don't give yourself permission. So give yourself permission to be enough. And by that, you have to start by saying that I don't know what I don't know. Which is, there's a whole other world of possibilities and angles that you're not aware of because you're not in the circle to know of them. So I told my story about real estate. You told your story about, just getting started with the podcast. That only comes through fucking first permission, second getting started, just doing the thing. not expecting it to be perfect. It might actually be really bad. But you know what? If you get the mistakes out of the way, you will start to get better. So confidence only comes through those things. And unfortunately, confidence only comes through failure and then getting back up.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the most important part, and I'll leave it at that so it's not long-winded. It's you are not going to succeed without failing more than you win. You're going to lose more than you win to get to any kind of success, whatever you define that as. That might be a number that you make per year, legally, I don't know who the fuck is watching, whatever. If you got a goal, you're going to have to fail along the way to get to the goal, one way or the other. But you got to be okay with that. So you got to bounce back. You're going to get knocked on your ass. We got a mental health crisis, depression, all this bullshit.
I love that clip.
Those are people that just decide they're going to stay down and start blaming.
I share that clip almost at least once a week.
That was a good one, man, because, I like being the guest on the show. Sometimes being the host is you're in a box, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you got to listen. But, when I'm a guest, I get to really let loose.
I was a
guest on that one, so I got to let loose. I don't know what got into me, but the truth is, we don't got a mental health crisis. We got a fucking problem with people just not trying.
Yeah.
And the truth is,
that shit was
if
awesome.
the system's out to get you, if the inequities are so great that they prevent you from trying, then you didn't really want it that bad. It wasn't the system, it wasn't the inequity, it was your lack of belief in yourself, but that just gave you an out. And unfortunately, in society now, we have a culture that embraces the excuses. It embraces that, you are enough. And don't get me wrong, you are enough. But, that's like starting point enough. Like, if you want to win, then you got to actually put in the fucking work. You can't just be this or that, a gender or a color or, a female or somebody who's been traditionally kept down. And then just show up as that person and expect to win. Well, look, I'm here and I'm great. It's like, yes, but you still got to put in the work. You got to take the bumps and bruises in whatever field or whatever you're trying to do in order to get somewhere. So,
Yeah.
There's nobody that fucking starts winning. Even the guy that is born into, or the kids that are born into money, like where I live, them kids are going to be fucked up, bro. Like, I'm struggling that with my kids.
That BMW,
they be pulling up to high school.
That BMW gift is not good, parents. I'm just letting you know.
Who the fuck are you kidding? You fucking your kids up. You fucking BMW, that little motherfucker didn't earn anything to get a BMW at 16. But, if you're in the hood, you look at that and you're like, oh, look what they got. Trust me, you don't want that. Them kids is fucked up. Parents is fucked up. So listen, that's the struggle, right? We wanted something, so we went and we moved to the suburbs because we got tranquility and peace. And guess what? Another set of problems arose. We don't look like nobody. We don't think like nobody. We don't really interact with too many people because we're going to not fit in. You know what I'm saying? So again, careful what you wish for.
How long you been there?
Yeah, 6. My daughter's turning 8, so 7 years. It's going to be 7 years in the end of the month.
I know we was going to end it, but I have to ask this question because you just set it up. How many, and by the way, he has a very nice car. How many times were you pulled over within that 6? So they don't fuck with you like that?
I looked the part, baby.
Oh, okay.
You know what's funny? So we're Dominican and Puerto Rican. My father's Puerto Rican, but he looks Blanquito.
Yeah.
And my mother's Dominican, and she looks Dominican. But she told me the story about my grandmother. Before they came from DR, they were always taught to marry up. So you either marry a white guy, or you have kids with a white guy, or a really fair-skinned Puerto Rican. And literally all of my aunts that are Dominican from DR had babies from fair-skinned Puerto Ricans or white men.
That is hilarious.
Fucking crazy.
No dark skin.
Listen, I'd be lying. Listen, if I said that my name, Sean Martin, didn't get me into the job interview along the way, as opposed to Sean Martinez.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So these are all things I always say, man, to be fair, like about inequity, because I make some comments that could be misconstrued. If I was a dark-skinned Dominican cat or a Moreno, and I was the same person spitting the same shit, my life would be dramatically different. Or I would have to work a lot harder to be where I'm at.
And that's the fact, bro.
That's the fucking fact, and I could never take that shit away from reality. I never give myself that pass. Sean Martin has served me. The features have served me. Now, when I talk, it's obvious that I'm fucking from the Bronx and I'm from New York, and I don't change who I am for the room that I'm in. You know, I might make some adjustments. I may not curse as much.
Yeah.
I spoke, you know, at a church, and I was like cringing because I was like, I don't even know when I'm cursing sometimes.
Yeah.
And the good Lord got me through the speech without cursing.
And you know what's crazy?
So,
I'm about to get a new job now, but I was a shuttle bus driver for the buildings alongside the West Side Highway, Trump Towers and all them buildings.
okay.
So, turn that shit off. You know what I'm saying? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever. I've been there 2 years. Now I'm going to work for the company.
Nice.
So it was a third party contract,
Right.
shuttle bus. So now I'm going to work for the Durst organization, which owns like 4 buildings on that strip.
Yeah. Durst from like the HBO show.
Yeah. So his brother,
Yeah.
his
I
older
know,
brother.
I know.
So
That's big money real estate.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to actually work for them,
Right.
and that was me not selling out. I'm still hood, you know, because when I see the hood residents, you know, we talk our shit, you know what I'm saying?
But you show up.
You show
you
up.
do your job. You
Yep.
go above and beyond. You polite. You professional.
I've been there 3 years.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something.
Now I'm in.
I'm gonna tell you something I learned too about inequity and prejudice and shit. Color matters a lot less than we do, or we think it does when we broke. If you have some kind of resources, and it doesn't have to be the resources I have, it could be the resources you have,
Yeah.
but you show up and you do what is expected of you, more times than not, that's going to be good enough to serve you well. So a lot of the excuses that we make of these obstacles that are present, it's irrelevant, bro. We just got to dig out of a deeper hole than maybe. Money solves a lot of fucking problems up to a certain point. And
Up
then
to
it
a certain
becomes
point.
an eternal reflection after that.
No, because see, a lot of people think being rich is money.
No.
Because put it this way, a rich person, right, could come to the hood. I guarantee you, your daddy's money or your daddy himself, we control the hood. So now you're not rich. You can't get in the bar. You can't get in the club. We're going to kick you out because whatever. You said some slip dumb shit. So your money doesn't matter.
Right.
You have to be that a polite, respectful person. For example, how many rich people are in jail? And what happens? Nothing.
Yeah.
You and the broke dude are still wearing the same colors.
Pretty much.
So
Putting on your pants legs one leg at a time.
exactly.
Right?
So don't take that rich shit to the head. My brother, this was an honor. This was a
My
pleasure.
pleasure, my brother.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
coming to the hood,
Appreciate
baby.
you having us.
He's from the hood, but he came back to the hood for me.
I still come back fucking 2 hours to get home, but you know,
But look how smart he is. He came here and he planned shit around today. Well, you know what? Since I'm gonna be in the Bronx, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go there, and he's gonna
listen.
take care of business while he's here.
That's the one thing, man. Entrepreneurship, for anybody that's got a side hustle, keep following. My page, The Sean Martin, THE, Sean Martin, SEAN, MARTIN, Real Mentors Podcast. Obviously, keep showing love to App 5 Podcast. But we're going to drop gems on how to start your own corporation, how to do a New York State name search, how to open up a bank account with your credit card, because, you know, you got a president now that people either love or hate. Unfortunately, in our community, it tends to skew hate because of, obviously, immigration and all that stuff. But the reality is, whoever's in control of the game for 4 years is not going to change your life more than you're going to change your life. There's certain things that a business owner can write off to keep more money in their pocket that is available to every single person that's in the United States. We just don't know about it. So in order to get started, it's as simple as starting some kind of business, opening up a bank account, and now this lunch, it's a tax deduction. We did business over lunch. Again, now you can use your imagination as to how that gets abused and how you could benefit from that. But why should you not be able to benefit from that as opposed to bitching about the way that it is? It's been this way for fucking generations. It's not going to change. So you're going to change to take benefit and have your family and legacy benefit from what's available to you. Or you're just going to do the easy thing, cop out, make excuses, and blame the fucking system. And the truth is, there's never been a better time to be an American, love it or hate it. And guess what? 4 years from now, I don't know who the president's going to be, but there'll never be a better time to be an American. And 4 years after that, there'll never be a better time to be an American. So,
And we're gonna end it on that note because I don't know how many clips I'm gonna make about this.
I don't know, but
It was gem.
You control your own destiny. That's the bottom fucking line, man.
That's
Y'all need
it.
anything, hit Ab up, hit me up. I always respond. It's me you're talking to. So, yeah, man, just keep showing love, keep showing up.
Thank you, my brother.
My brother, it was a pleasure. Shout out to Jose. Hopefully
out
I
to
see you
Jose
this
and
month. I
Freeze.
heard it's your birthday month.
Yeah, we're
got a
gonna
whole
pull up
month.
on. We're gonna pull up on you.
And that's my birthday month, too. So,
Yeah, make it happen.
we might have to.
No drinking.
No drinking.
Peace.
Your strongest Diet Coke, please. My brother.
Thank you, man. That was awesome.
My pleasure.